Hey everybody, welcome back to Crazy Dave's Crew. I'm Laura. You're watching Thursday Threads. Today I want to talk about Quilt Block Lottery, which is a group on Facebook. Michelle's sweet, sweet lady. And for the month of March, they are doing Patience Corners. Now the way the Quilt Block Lottery works, if you're interested in it, you follow the instructions, you make the block, you send it in to her. Make sure you follow the instructions for how to send it in. And then at the end of the month, she will draw a winner, and the winner gets all the blocks. And I think if there is enough participation, then there might be two winners. I think the runner-up gets to pick the next month's block. So this month, it's Patience Corners, and we're supposed to be using yellow and purple. And I have been playing with this and coming up with, fingers crossed, for two methods. One was just piece by piece, and another where we're going to just kind of cut it up and make it happen. So we'll be right back and we'll get started. Alright, so the first method is I have some 4.5 inch squares, and then I have some 2.5 inch by 4.5 inch strips. So I'm going to press a couple of these down a little bit. I'm going to take two of my squares and one of my little rectangles. Okay, and we're just going to pin that one down. And we're going to set it aside. We're going to take another square, another rectangle, and pin it and set that aside. Now we're going to do a little bit different. Yeah, we're going to pin one of the rectangles up here at the top. And also on the other side. So I've got 4.5 inch squares and 2.5 by 4.5 inch rectangles. Okay. And yeah, I know it's a small piece and I'm pinning. See, I know what happens if I don't pin. If I don't pin, it'll slip and I won't get the right 1/4 inch seam. And I'm funny, I like to go ahead and do all my pinning to out of the way. But that's not really the fun part. So I've got two squares with just one rectangle. I've got two squares with two rectangles. How easy is that, right? Then, I'm going to take two of my rectangles, and we're going to sew them this way. Let's set that aside, and we're going to do it again. So to make the block, I'm basically doing things in twos. I have two sets of my rectangles, where I'm going to sew them together to make a longer strip. Two of my squares with the rectangles on both up on the top side and the bottom side, and two squares with just one rectangle. So let's get those to the sewing machine. We're going to sew those down, and let's take a look at what we got. Be right back. Right, and I am doing what they call chain piecing. So if you've ever heard that phrase, so I've already got one all the way through. I am using my piecing foot. And I'm just going to kind of keep on going here. Standard stitch. 1/4 inch seam. this is part of the reason why I pinned, because now all I have to do is just pick up my pieces and go. They're already matched up. Oh, I'm almost out of bobbin there. I'll need to fix that in a minute. Okay, so let's... And I have discovered this little cutter at the back. So if yours has one, it does make things kind of nice and easy. Just going to slide that through there. And there you go. Alright, then I'm going to turn this around and I'm going to do this other side. Okay, my little cutter. There. And there. And then I'm going to do my other. Alright. Now we're going to press these down. So I like to set my seam on both sides. And press them open. Don't forget to be careful when you're pressing, because it does get a little hot. So I've got my my side pieces. Okay. So we're going to set these aside for the moment. And we're going to work with these. So you've got rectangle here, rectangle here. Now you're going to take our double piece and just line it up. I think I'm going to use this side. And we're just going to sew these down to the sides. So we're just going to match that up. That one there. That one there. That one there. And that one there. Okay. So we're going to sew this down here. And sew this one across here. So I've got a seam going that direction. And then this seam's going this direction. This way, I can just slide it around and it will fit in beautifully, just like a little jigsaw puzzle. And you should get really good corners, really good points. You'll find your own method. I like, and again this is just me, put a pin this way on the left of that seam being joined and on the right. And then use my nails a little bit just to kind of scooch things around. Make sure everything's up nice and even. Right. Same thing with this side. And again, I know me. If I don't pin it, I will let it slide and it won't be right. And then all we're going to do is just sew this down. And voila, you have made a Patience Corners. So let's sew this down, press it, and then let's see if we can find another method. So this is method 1. And then they can be put together like that. So that is one method. So you're going to need 4.5 inch squares and 2.5 by 4.5 inch rectangles. Okay. And that comes out and just looks beautiful. Now all that's left is to square it up to be the correct size as called for by the block swap, by the lottery, which is what I'm doing this for. And we're wanting a 12.5 inch unfinished block, which also means a 12-inch finished block. So I'm just going to take my big ruler here, and then I'll just trim up. But you can see it really, and I like to make sure that my diagonals, always use this diagonal piece on it for your corners and your points. Okay, so just square that up and you are good to go. So there's one. I now have two. I now have two that I can enter into this contest. Unless I want to keep them, I guess. But is there another method? Well, let's give it a try. So I have a 9-inch block. And I have 2.5 inch strips. And I'm just going to sew at the top, sew at the bottom, side, and side. So let's see what happens. Right, so I've got a 9-inch block, did it in yellow, and then I did 2.5 inch strips on each side. Now if I measure just the yellow part, it's 8.5 inches. 8.5 inches. So I am going to cut 4.25 inches right down the middle and right down the middle. So I'm going to use my rotary Fiskars cutter combo. So if I put a 4 inches right there on that seam, that's not what I want. I want 4.25 inches. So we're just going to go 4.25 right along. I've got a nice straight line here, a nice straight line here. Okay. Now I'm going to do the same thing to the side. 4.25. So my 4.25 mark is right here along that seam. Perfect. Okay, now for a little bit of magic. You ready? So what if I take this one and put it there, and this one and put it there, and there's my figure 8. So now all I have to do is sew it together. Ta-da! And see, and I know I'm going to lose 1/2 inch there, but I'm 13 inches across minus a 1/4 inch seam and a 1/4 inch seam. That's going to make it 12.5. And if I measure from here to here, again 13 inches minusing my seams, so I should have a really good 12.5 inch unfinished block. I'll trim up the sides and I'll have another entry. But if nothing else, I learned a new block. Fairly simple, but it is going to look complicated, and I love that. And I like the colors they chose. purple and yellow. So let me know how you do. Let me know what you think. I hope this has been helpful for you. I hope you've enjoyed it. And I hope you'll come back next time for Thursday Threads. As always, we'll have links in the description to Quilt Block Lottery. There's also some great block swaps on Facebook. I encourage it. It's not for everybody. So don't feel bad if it's not for you. It's okay. But you can start out with one or two. If you want to try the Quilt Block Lottery, by all means, give it a go. I haven't won anything yet, but you know, we're going to keep our fingers crossed. We also have links in the description for any tools that we might use. I love my rotary cutter combo. One of my absolute favorite things. I'm so glad we purchased it. And I would love to see your block. So be sure to check us out on Facebook and Crazy Dave's Crew, and also Sewing and Crocheting for Beginners. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And don't forget to check us out next time, right here on Crazy Dave's Crew and Thursday Threads.